is somebody who's hardworking, who's honest, somebody who's loyal. They love their family, they love God, they love the country, and they're good people.
The typical person in the state of Kansas wants to help their neighbor. They want to help their family member. They want to make sure that everyone is taken care of. You see people all the time put out pickle jars. People put money in those pickle jars to help their neighbors and their friends pay for their health care. Unfortunately, so many of our community members, even when they're working 40 hours a week or more, even when they have multiple jobs, wages are just not high enough for them to be able to qualify for insurance.
My name is Stephanie Barr. I've always loved to collect vintage things. The first pair of glasses I ever got at thrift store was this one, and I used to wear these and drive around in my pacer. I thought it was so cool. I'm from Salina, Kansas, and currently me and my cat live in Overland Park, Kansas. I always had a dream that I would grow up one day and become an author. My mom was a waitress. She's a very smart person, but education wasn't a top priority. Even for my grandma at the age of 12, she had to go make her own way. We were really poor.
This is me at one of my jobs.
And so when I turned 14, I was able to get my first real job as a busgirl at Russell's restaurant, the truck stop that my grandmother managed. I made $4.25 an hour, and that's how I was able to buy those things that we needed at home, like new shoes or shampoo. I dropped out when I was a junior. Even though I was smart and I did well in school, I was in the gifted program, I didn't see any way for me ever going to college. It just didn't seem like even an option at all. When I was 30 years old, it was actually the first time in my life I was feeling pretty stable, and it's when I first felt the lump. I was diagnosed with breast cancer, and I just remember being in this hallway and feeling my world fall out from underneath me. At that time, I wasn't sure if I was gonna be able to get the chemotherapy that my doctor wanted me to get, because I didn't know how financially we were gonna be able to make that work. I never had health insurance at all in my life, not even through a job, just because it cost so much money. I couldn't even afford to have it taken out of my paycheck, you know, when I was serving full time and working for myself. Just worrying about all of the debt, the injections, which were $400 a day. If I didn't get those injections to boost my white blood cells, then my treatment would have been spaced out, and the further out you're spacing your treatment, the less effective it is. And so all of those things are going through my mind. How am I even gonna pay for the chemotherapy medicine? And on top of that, all these other medications, steroids, anti-nausea pills, and that's not even getting into the surgeries yet either. I will honestly say the financial burden of it was more frightening to me than the cancer diagnosis itself. I had to figure out financially how I was gonna be able to get through it.
So unfortunately, so many of our community members cannot make enough on those minimum wage jobs to receive subsidies on the marketplace. They have to decide between healthcare and work, or healthcare and utilities, or healthcare and groceries.
Landscaping, it was a big part of my life. That was my yard in Illinois. I had a pond. That's my grandson. He's walking through all my flowers. I had a pathway that went out that way. There's the pond. We dug that out myself. That's what I used to do. I couldn't do that now.
One of the women that we have seen here at Thrive and have tried to help, her name is Linda. I'm sure the cold weather doesn't help with that at all.
No, it does not.
Hey, Linda, this is Greta.
Oh,
Greta.
hi, Greta. Nice to meet you.
Linda, and Greta's going to be assisting you today.
I'll just take that.
I had a stroke and I had lived in Illinois. I could not be alone for a month. I had to be with someone at all times. And so my family came up, my mom, my sister, and brought me home. I'm originally from here.
Okay, so you don't have any insurance right now?
No, I was approved for Medicaid in Illinois, but it's been brought to my attention that you cannot transfer it.
Yeah, in Kansas, there's only 3 ways you qualify for it. You have to be a child, have to be elderly, disabled, or pregnant.
She can't get health care. She's selling her goods, everything she owns, just to try and get those doctor's appointments. When Linda had her stroke, it affected the left side of her body. And if she could have received care, physical therapy, as she should have, she would be able to do so much more. And instead, she will now, for the rest of her life, have very limited use of that side of her body.
As physicians, we have guidelines that suggest that this is the right treatment, but individuals can't afford what the guidelines suggest.
To be honest, I just feel that I don't matter. I don't know what it takes to get someone here in this state to help you. With all the issues, so many times I feel like I'm existing and I'm just not really living my life to the potential I could have had. That's sort of how I feel about Kansas right now. My Aunt Janet saw this when we were shopping one day, and it's just ironic. It is good to be home with family, but now I'm without health care. So I could have been in Illinois alone and not have family support, but then I'm home with family and now I have no health care support. So it's kind of double-edged sword. It's not Republican, it's not Democratic, it's a humanitarian issue. It's people are dying, people are sick, they need help, and it's a human thing. It's caring, it's helping others, getting them through the worst periods of their lives. I know that people here have compassion. I know they believe in helping each other, and this should just be one of those ways that they help.
One of the issues she has right now is she has diabetes and she needs shots in her eyes that she cannot get. And her comment to us was, well, I guess if I go blind, they'll have to cover me because I will officially be disabled then.
Every 6 months you have to have the shots. They are $2,000 to $3,000 per eye, and I need to have that done on both.
You have an illness, you become disabled, you can't work any longer, now you can get Medicaid. They want to work. They want to put food on the table for themselves and their families.
We're talking about people working in factories and restaurants. We're talking about farmers, working class individuals and families. That is the typical demographic that you are going to see that would benefit from expanding Medicaid in Kansas.
My name is Anthony Ronaldo. I live in Kansas City. I work at the counter at a plumbing wholesale company. I'm a single dad. My son, Braden, is 11 years old.
How was school?
Good.
Yeah? What did you do?
Played kickball.
Well, that's not a subject.
I did math.
He tells me he likes math in school. He loves music. He loves PE. I think every kid loves PE. I want Braden to just know that he has a father that loves him and cares for him.
Who do you think the Chiefs are going to play in the Super Bowl?
The Raiders.
They can't. They're in the same division.
The Texans.
They're AFC.
Fine, the Dolphins.
Dolphins?
Yes.
There you go.
This is me and Braden when he was about 6 years old. At the time, he was going into second grade. He was not at a second grade level as far as his learning, his social skills, his language. Couldn't read in full sentences, couldn't speak in full sentences. It was frustrating. There was something going on with him that I needed to get figured out. I took Braden to it's an evaluation center for kids. We then found out that he's got ADHD, and then he's got a couple mood disorders, all kinds of medical things going on with him. The recommendations that we got were he needed to have multiple medications and a couple different therapists that were needed to kind of help him branch out and be able to grow. Yeah, the cost for everything that he was going to need was probably 50 to 60% of my income. It was going to be a big hit. I started looking on the internet as far as some assistance.
350, okay.
I filled out the Medicaid application. We got accepted. It was a great feeling when that happened because we definitely wouldn't be here without it. First starting it, I was kind of, well, what is this going to say about the working class? But it's not even like that.
Braden, time for your meds.
I've never not worked a day in my life. I just knew what it was going to take. I needed to get it done for him. Now I've been able to see the growth.
Spell table. Shut.
He's done a complete 180 on his everyday function, his school. Every report that I get from the school has been nothing but good things. He's now in 5th grade, and he's only a grade behind. He's still even doing some 5th grade stuff, which is awesome. There are days where I want to pull hair out, but I look at the bigger picture, and the bigger picture is, what can I do today to help Braden?
I had read a book about a guy who'd had a brain tumor. His odds of surviving that brain tumor were 1%. And he said he just always put himself in that 1%. And so immediately I'm like, I'm the percent of people who are gonna survive through this. When I was diagnosed and I was in contact with the early detection works, some people started talking about Medicaid. I never even heard that that was an option for somebody like me. Every state is held responsible for giving Medicaid to women who are diagnosed with breast or cervical cancer if they fall under a certain poverty line and don't have any insurance coverage. I essentially won the cancer lottery. I got the right kind of cancer to be able to qualify for this. Within a few weeks, I got the news that I was going to be covered by Medicaid. I just remember it was a huge relief. I can get the treatment that I need.
There is a consequence to a community, not just the individual, but to the entire community when people can't access good health care. It is a big economic impact.
There are 107 rural hospitals in Kansas, and only 9 of them that are in the black. Now we have about 29 hospitals that one more hit and they're done. So if this hospital closes down, 440 jobs are gone. So what happens? Well, gas, people aren't buying it, that section's gone. Restaurants, they lose business. Cities lose taxes. People don't want to live there anymore, so therefore the price of houses goes down. Nobody wants to move there because it doesn't have a hospital. And if there's one thing about healthcare, when you're deathly ill or you had a traumatic car accident, there's like a window of time where things can happen for the best or for the worst.
I live in Durham, Kansas, in the middle of nowhere. Do not blink, you will drive right by this town. There's 105 people here, and it's just a nice little quiet place. You feel safe. We want beautiful skies, our beautiful sunrises, sunsets. We work our butts off to keep it that way. However, the scary part happens when all of a sudden the thing you never ever think would happen happens, and it does come back abnormal. I'm diagnosed with pre-cervical cancer. What am I gonna do? How am I gonna know I'm gonna be safe? I've got a 14-year-old, and I'm in the middle of nowhere. And so just to travel to try and find healthcare, like an office, it's not exactly the best situation.
When people think of rural communities, they think that we're very small, and so it'd be very easy to walk wherever you need to go, and that's so not true. We're spread over 505 square miles in Allen County alone.
Nothing comes with insurance that I've done. I have to go out and find that on my own, and with my income, there's just no way that I can afford any of those payments. An insurance premium monthly would be devastating, and I want to raise my kids in the country. I'm not a city person, and I shouldn't have to go to the city just to find health care.
Hey guys! Hey! Oh my gosh, I missed you. After finishing treatment, my sister Sarah had given birth to her first son.
Quack, quack.
Now my sister has 3 sons and 1 daughter, and they're really what I live for.
It looks dark, but it's actually really light, but it doesn't matter.
I moved up to Overland Park with the idea that I wanted to do something bigger with my life. I went back, finished high school.
Everybody's gonna get one. Yeah, maybe I could start you off with a couple of ice waters.
My life now, I work full-time at a restaurant as a server. Because of Medicaid, I'm the first person in my family to attend college, so I'm able to focus on that instead of worrying about my medical debt. After getting diagnosed with breast cancer, I started to interact with other ladies at the cancer center, and I was shocked to learn, even though I fell well below the poverty line needed to qualify for the Medicaid, if I'd had any other kind of cancer, I wouldn't have qualified for Medicaid.
Just kind of like bounce ideas off.
A lot of people, they won't even go to the doctor because they know they can't afford it. I don't think that based on insurance or money, anybody should be denied quality health care.
We have the resources, we have the knowledge, we have the doctors, we have what we need to take care of people, and yet they can't access that care. The impact is not just on the individual. If you change that person's life, it's going to change all the lives around them. And it's going to have a bigger impact in their community.